Hello, everyone. Welcome to Entertainment Expansion. We're your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how are you doing?
Well, my friend, as always, I am chilling because we actually have a pretty good movie to talk about here. And for that, I'm excited.
Would one say surprisingly good?
Yes, considering it came out with a bunch of kind of mixed reviews.
Yes, technically Rotten
And
on Rotten Tomatoes. Just barely, but it is.
yeah, and
Um,
I think it's a little harsh.
oh, I think the critics are wrong on this one. But again, what do we know? We're non-critics,
Yeah.
just on a podcast. But we are talking about the late summer hit Bullet Train. This is from Sony, directed by David Leitch. You would know him from one of the John Wick guys from the OG film. He made Deadpool 2. He gets around basically just doing a lot of action films now, and Bullet Train is no exception to that.
No, it is not.
This is an ensemble cast. This is not there's not I don't feel this is a film where there's a clear cut main character. If there's gonna be one, it is Brad Pitt. However, the bottle of Fiji water, I would say, is a close second.
Yes, indeed it is.
But
That bottle
basically, it's
traveled
an
a long
ensemble
distance.
cast. Yeah, of everyone. Yeah, they're basically the perfect group of actors. Like you know them, you recognize them, you know them from somewhere, but they're not like A-listers. But it all works. And we have some cameos that we'll get into in a bit. Obviously, we'll be talking about spoilers. Which surprisingly, this is a film where there's actually quite a bit of spoilers. Like, you can't talk too much about the film without spoiling it. Um,
Agreed.
But yeah, Brad Pitt's on a train from what is it, Tokyo to Kyoto. Bullet
Yep.
train, hence title. He needs to grab a briefcase, first job back from his sabbatical, and that's it. And it's just I'm really first stop, it just goes off the rails as soon as he steps on the train, really. Mike, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, overall, I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. And for the most part, the entire cast had great chemistry together,
Mhm.
which with a movie like this with such a large cast, that's easier said than done. So I think that's definitely a highlight of the film. It definitely had a lot of good comedic moments. The action scenes were very much on point. And when we get through the actual, overarching story, everything kind of made sense. And it all pieced together very nicely.
Yeah, I think so. The one thing I think that makes this film stand out, and I think what makes it work so well, is the chemistry between the cast. And I think we need to specifically shout out the combo, Tangerine and Lemon.
Yeah, the twins.
Um, yeah, the twins. From the moment in first conversation with them, they killed it. And again, everyone has chemistry with each other. Those two, their conversation. Honestly, I could have like a 2 hour movie just them bickering and talking. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
so definitely, big picture, the script for this film worked. The actors were given good enough material. They were able to bounce off each other, and it worked. So the comedy's there. Physical comedy, actual jokes. Again, blast from the past. I did not expect going in this movie, uh, getting a full breakdown of Thomas the Tank Engine,
Yes,
but it's hilarious.
and it works.
Yeah, it does work. So we have actual jokes, we have physical comedy, the actual action when they get to it is really good as well. Which again, this is David Leitch, so that's not a shock per se. But considering for the most part they are limited to the train or the station when they stop, they get really good with what they can do with the action.
Yes,
Because like it says bullet train, they're on the train. 99% of the film, they are actually on the train. And I give them props for that because you could say bullet train and like halfway through they switch to something else. They're going through Tokyo or whatever. It's like, no, they're legitimately on the train. And I also think it just kind of played off. I don't know if you got this feeling, like it kind of played off like Guy Ritchie film to a degree.
yes,
It definitely
very
had
much
that vibe
so.
with the flashbacks and everything.
And kind of just how the characters were introduced. They had their
Mm-hmm.
own little segments, and then when they would meet each other, and that it definitely worked out for the most part.
I mean, I don't mean to say it's like a poor Guy Ritchie. It's just it's kind of
No,
imitating it, but I think it does it pretty well.
don't have to concur with that statement. So Tyler, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If you had to pick one scene where the movie really drew you in, what would it be?
Ooh, the one scene. All right. Uh, I, the movie had me from beforehand, but for me, one of the standout scenes, like whenever I think about this movie, I think about this scene. And again, a bit of a spoiler here is Tangerine finding out who killed his brother.
Allegedly.
Uh, yes, allegedly, but at that point, we assume he is dead. We see the
Yep.
Diesel sticker, that scene, Brad Pitt joining the scene, all that too. Tangerine dying a very stupid death, but it fits with the film. That entire film, that entire scene, like had me because I was like because again at this point now we're an hour over an hour into the film. Tangerine's walking back and forth. He's putting together the pieces, and he finally puts it all together, and he fucking does.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of agree with you. I think that's a standout scene.
Yeah,
Wouldn't say that necessarily was what drew me in, but I think that might be one of the best scenes in the entire movie, based off the fact that it's a culmination of solid acting, story points hitting together with the Diesel sticker and Tangerine kind of putting the pieces together and instantly like playing the game with her at first and then switching up. It was just bad fucking time that Brad Pitt walks in.
yeah.
Because then,
I
but
mean that dude is seriously unlucky. His character
oh yeah,
is the unluckiest person.
the unluckiest. But hey, listen, Lemon got the final laugh
Yeah, he
in the
did.
lemon
He
drop.
definitely did. I think also, so again, plot wise, I enjoyed it. I guess before we go into anything else we thought about it or any negatives, I really enjoyed the cameos and at least the marketing leading up to this. They did not do any of the cameos at all. Like they did
No,
not, which is good because again, they're only in it for like 10 seconds, but I think is really good how they just dropped them in there and it also fits for the movie. Like it's not just, oh, hey, here is Ryan Reynolds for 5 seconds. Like, no, him being Carter, and again, we've only heard at this point for 2 hours, Carter, Carter, Carter. Boom, this is what Carter looks like. He kind of fucked everything up to begin with, pre the movie starting. It
yes,
just it fits. It fits. And then Channing Tatum, it's like, okay, he's only in it for 1 to 2 minutes, but he actually plays a role in the film. It's not just like, oh look, there's Channing Tatum sitting down in first class. Like, no, there's a purpose to this.
correct. Just to reel it back in for a second, you gotta like the real world symmetry that we get in this movie because Brad Pitt did a nice little cameo in Deadpool 2 with Ryan Reynolds, and then here we go, returning the favor.
Uh-huh.
So it all works out in the end.
And actually another symmetry as well. He had a small role in The Lost City that had Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock as the lead characters there, and here, there, Sandra Bullock was a supporting character, and Channing Tatum had his cameo. So they each paint each other back in a way. So
Yeah, funny how that works.
yeah, one of the main negatives I had, and I know this is probably going to be a silly negative, but it kind of took me out in some scenes. Is Michael Shannon, not him, but his fucking wig. I
Yeah, it
completely
was
forgot he was in the movie. He finally, again, the White Death, White Death. We finally see him, no mask, and it's Michael Shannon's like, oh my god, what is his hair?
yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, I can see where you're coming from. I don't necessarily know if I agree with it because he was very over the top as a character to begin with, so everything about him kind of is over the top.
Yeah. Okay.
So for me, it kind of tracks.
Okay. Again, that's not the main negative for me. That's a bit more of a pet peeve. An actual negative I have regarding the plot or the script is I kind of felt they did the fake out death a little too much. Right? Looks like the
Yeah,
kid's about to die in the hospital. Psych, there's another assassin there. He's all good. His father, definitely dead. Just he had an accident. Yeah, again, he made a mistake. He's dead. No, he's not dead.
Yeah, he
But
survived for a long fucking time.
I know, like, but that's the thing. Like, you would think at that point, all right, it makes sense. You gotta start killing people off. Makes sense. Lemon, fucking in the bathroom with him for an hour or two. He's also alive. So it's like,
Realistically, only one of the main cast kind of died.
yeah, which I'm fine with. But the fact that you had three characters in the film that had a fake out death, it's like, really? Like, it just kind of felt like at that point it was getting a little cheap and trying to elicit an emotional response, especially with like a lemon. So I don't know. I mean, look, I still think the plot for the most part is good. A lot of the jokes land. I just feel like pacing wise, you could have done something to build up an emotional moment differently than the fake out death. I know.
Yeah, like it would have the movie would have held more weight if
Hmm.
they stuck to their guns with some of these deaths.
Who knows? Maybe they kicked around. Look, I'm glad they didn't go with the classic trope of the grandfather sacrificing himself to give his son another chance, right? Being a proper
Yeah,
father. Like that's easily a trope they could have done, right? He's the wise old dude.
badass
I'm
too.
glad he got to be a badass, and I don't think he died, right?
I
I
don't
don't remember
believe
him
so.
dying.
No.
Yeah, he was close to dying, but he didn't. So I get it. Maybe they're like, well, we don't want to do the classic thing. Let's switch it up, and I just feel it could have been done a little better.
Yeah, I agree.
So you got any negatives, or it seems like overall you're pretty positive about the film.
Yes, I think I'm mostly positive due to the fact I went into it with such low expectations because I took the reviews to heart. I was excited about the movie when it was first announced. Trailers looked good, and then when the reviews came out, I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll see it," but probably not gonna be that good. So it was definitely a pleasant surprise because the movie succeeded at being what it was. It was an over-the-top action comedy. There was a bunch of things extremely unrealistic about it, but that just kind of goes hand in hand with the world that they were kind of building for the most part.
Yeah,
So it kind of worked in that sense.
and they leave it open for a sequel with Ladybug.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
I still want like a prequel though. Tangerine and Lemon spinoff. That's what I want.
I mean that would be my preference first. Yeah, absolutely. If that's on the table, I mean, please let's get a movie with them as the
Yep.
leads, build out a supporting cast, and let's get that going. Because
Take
clearly,
my money.
again, but based on the background we got in this movie, which for the main group of characters, they give each character a decent backstory to work with.
They do, especially as time goes on throughout the film, and you get the
Hmm.
reasoning of why they're all on that train together.
Yes.
It expands that backstory even further. So as far as storytelling wise, I think this movie did a great job at that.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, that's really all I have about the film. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to give my recommendation here.
Oh, I am quite ready, my friend.
So I think this is going to be an easy one for both of us. It's a yes for me.
Well, Tyler, I would appreciate it if you did not speak for me,
Well, I'm
because
not. That's why I'm waiting for you
my,
to say something.
my opinion just might be different there, pal. But funny enough, I will also recommend this movie because it is a very fun, entertaining watch. You will get some laughs out of it. You will enjoy the action if that is your cup of tea. But as always, you know our thoughts about the
Well,
film. We want
actually, before you go into our outro here, since we both recommend it, I think we should let the good people know if you are within America, there's movies on Netflix right now. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it going on iTunes, Vudu, Best Buy. It's on Netflix. If you're in America, watch it right now. It's a good watch. Okay. That's my piece.
well, alrighty then. So as always, we want to know your thoughts on Bullet Train. Are you planning on giving it a watch? Did you give it a watch? What are your thoughts? Please inform us either Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. You can check us out at Entertainment Expansion. As always, thank you for listening.